Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 10th of April 2024. Okay, so we're just going to run through the charts, look at some COT data, and return to the price charts and see if we can make some sense of what's going on. So focusing initially on the American dollar, you can see that we had a pretty tall premium pricing for the American dollar index until about, what is that, August, September. Then we started to see a decrease in the positioning of the American dollar. So we had a big rally in the American dollar, and now things have started to move lower since this. So if we just kind of draw it, kind of an average, smooth that out a little bit, it kind of looks like that. Okay, so we kind of reached the peak here. This is around August, September, and now we're wriggling lower. And notice also that the contracts on the short side are expanding. You can see if we just did the moving average once again, we're slowly starting to expand negative. And also, from here to here, this is kind of an envelope that you can see, and it kind of moves over time, and this envelope will move above and below the positive negative line depending on how many contracts long we have relative to the contracts short. You can see here on the bleeding edge side that we have more net short than we do net long. And you can see here, if we look at the percentage scale, so percentage longs versus the shorts, you can see that we are certainly growing or expanding negative. Okay, so this is going to tell us that the American dollar is likely going to start to move lower, shorter term, maybe even longer term. We don't know yet. Depends on what the central bank does with interest rates and whatnot. But looking here, you can see we reached this all-time high. This was roughly at the end of the summer, a couple of years ago. What is that? October. September, October. This is when we kind of started to see that turn, and then prices started to move away from that. And you can see we're trading between a couple of areas. We have something here, and then below price we have this area of demand, and prices are just kind of happily moving between these two extremes for the time being. But notice now, week on week, we are starting to show some negative sentiment on the American dollar. And so we have a shorter term short bias on the American dollar for those reasons. And so looking at slightly smaller time frames, we've had like we have this nice area here which I like. Prices broke away, we pulled back, we came to it, and then we left. We came back to this historical reference point, which is just here. Okay, we tested that just here, and then we moved away, and now we're revisiting that area there, but we're starting to break down as well here. So on the 4-hour chart, you can see that we have this lovely 4-hour zone here which was tested. I'll just use this rectangle. Okay, it was tested beautifully, and now prices went down. And so I'm thinking that prices will maybe come up and have like another test before that sentiment kicks in. We did have this just here, which was like a nice area. Just here, prices left. We tested, we went higher, and we've tested this area several times before, but we have not yet removed it. And so for this area to be valid, we have to try and find out what else is holding price. And so here you can see we have to find places where prices turned, and we can see that we have something in here. So prices turned here once, twice. We had a huge rejection to the other side of the market, kind of dipping into those bids, and then price rallied, accumulated. We departed, so we removed this area just here. We cut through it, pulled back the slingshot, and then we left. So the buy zone is established right there, and this was tested beautifully here before prices went to this 4-hour supply opposite. Okay, and so we can expect, well, this one is gone. This one is still in play, so we can expect prices to continue to wiggle up and down until we manage to kind of poke into those offers and those bids that will overwhelm the other side of the market. So looking at the futures market, we're likely going to go shorter term lower. So we want to kind of position ourselves we want to position ourselves short at the upper edge of this area here, and prices have already visited kind of this area here, and so we have kind of something going on here above price. So prices should kind of poke up into that area, to the top side of the book. You know, we have the thick side is above. Okay, so we have thicker liquidity up here, and then it gets the offers gets smaller the lower you go, and then we get the bigger bids on the bottom side as we move lower. Okay, so we want prices to travel up to meet us. We don't want to chase price. We want prices to move to our entry. Okay, so you want to position yourself short higher. Okay, just judging on what we can see here on the COT data here. Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's move on now to another one. Let's have a look at the Kiwi. So I've been looking to buy the Kiwi and didn't get fill. I've had this order down here for a bit. We did not get fill, but we did have a reaction there, so I'd feel quite comfortable holding on to that and waiting. The fact that price came down, we had a lovely pattern which I like. We went like that, we went higher, and we came down. The fact that price came down like that makes me feel confident in buying a lower, and so I'd like to try and get in here. But you can see we have a parent-child relationship there, so we're likely going to have to go down to the smaller time frames in order to find that. And you can see here that we have that bigger pattern. Okay, and within that pattern we have smaller patterns, and we have a couple of ranges here. We've got this one here, and we've got this one here. So we have a couple of nested areas, and this one here kind of smells like parent, and here we have child. So I'd be pretty comfortable maybe buying where these two meet, where the child meets the parent, and so I'd feel pretty confident doing something like that. And these two tests here, test, departure, test, departure, this is kind of pointing to the edge of the buy zone for this zone here. It's not a terribly, there's a lot of trading in that area, but I like it because that it lines up nicely with these zones here. We went below, we tested, we moved up, we snapped higher, we snapped higher, and this is where we released from. And so going to a larger time frame just to find a little bit of clarity to remove these areas. Let's get this one off. Okay, I mean, I think this looks interesting, but I'd also like to look a little bit further left. See if we can find what that is. The white line. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. MT4 is a bit of a dinosaur, isn't it, that we have to navigate. We'll have to go to the 4-hour chart. I don't think I have any data. Okay, so this is what we did. We came to this buy zone just here. Okay, so this is the buy zone right here. This is a buy zone because prices snapped back and they released. So this is a pretty clear indication of where prices went. We do have a couple of areas down here as well. We had like a very clear defined area just here. So let me adjust that. I like that. So we got something that looks like that here. Okay, so this could also be an interesting area. If you go to the daily chart. Okay, so this is that area right there. I like that one quite a lot. We managed to move through here. This is essentially where we had the test. Prices accumulated, popped higher, the slingshot snapped back, and then we released to the upside. I think this is an interesting area down here, as is this here. This for a shorter term and this for a slightly longer term position. So I think those are interesting. Let's have a look at the Kiwi American dollar data here. NZ. Then we'll look at all the data so we can see the progression over time. And you can see here we have this is the net positions across all of these participants, and you can see that we're slowly moving higher. Okay, we've been doing that since the beginning of the year. So we got these cycles in play. Okay, and so now we're approaching the top here. Okay, historically we've had some some pullbacks from these about 4,000 contracts positive area, and so maybe we can expect prices to dig into these areas before they continue to move. If we go to the non-speculative, we'll see what happens here. I mean, here we have the shorts growing, but I'm still quite confident that prices could continue to move a little bit higher up before they move lower. We have a pretty intertwined short and long stance here, but I think shorter term that we could see this move a little bit higher to these opposing areas just here before we continue to move south. So let's have a look on the weekly and get some profound data. See, what we have here is like a very, okay, we have to do the legwork here. So we had something here, tested, okay, not really consumed, but we did dip below it, and we have something above price here. This seems to be a price sensitive area, so this would be a very obvious place to sell at once prices get up there. Shorter term, we have something here, a lot of testing. Now it's removed by this, and we just poked into this area here, and this is where I'm getting my long bias shorter term. So we're still kind of wriggling higher from here, but on the shorter time frames we need to focus on what's in here. So going to the daily chart, this is what we have in here. We have like this little zone of sideways prices, and if we do our analysis properly, we had this tested, now removed by something in here. Let's just go like that, line it up where these tests are, here and here. Okay, so we had the parent, we had child, and prices left. We had this zone here, which was tested several times. Okay, and the origin of that move is there's something in here. Okay, so we have to go to the smaller time frames once more. Let me put on a little box so I can see that on the 4 hour or the 1 hour even. And you can see that there's something in here. We can't see it on this time frame, but we had this tested, now removed. What area did it? We don't know. Something in here. We could just box off that whole area, and now this one's gone, the area that did it. Essentially we have something like that, but you notice that we have micro parent, so we could go like this. Prices tested. Okay, so this is kind of holding, but I'd like to move this higher because we've got something here. We want to go to the edge of the sell zone, which is just up here. So I think once prices come up here, we'll see them turn around and do a bit of a correction. But we've also got something in here on this 4 hour zone. Let's have a look, which is just above where prices currently are. Here, right here. But looking at this, I don't like the looks of that. I think prices could easily move through there. So zooming out, want to go above here. I mean, this is certainly something that looks more interesting. I've got to do all of these, move my boxes here. This is gone by this. Okay, turning point right there. Yeah, this is the one that did it right here where the software drew. So we could get a reaction there, but notice that we do have inefficiency above price, but we might not even get past this, which looks like this. Okay, so we could likely move to the premium side of this zone before we move lower. Okay, so let's have a look on the 15-minute. So we can find that little tiny zone. Okay, here. No, we have to go. I don't even know if I have any 5-minute data there. Yeah, there's not a lot of clarity. We've got this. It's not a pretty one. We've got this. Okay, and here we always have to find the zones that were removed by other zones. we've got this. This was tested several times. Okay, and now it's gone. The area that did it. I mean, there's something up here. Okay, something up there. We move this. We could box it off something like that. Something like that. So we've got a few areas to watch. God, so quickly how these videos get so long, so quick. 15 minutes already. Okay, so I think we could continue to wriggle higher from here, just a little bit, before we have a correction. So, I mean, the obvious place would be to begin to scale in from around this area here for shorts, and for longs, anything below this price, this low here, would be an interesting place. Okay, good. So let's move on. Moving to the Australian dollar. So kind of a similar thing here, of course. If we go to the COT data, Australian dollar. Then we go to the non-commercials and see. You can see that we're slowly moving negative, moving into negative territory. The negative positions on the speculative side are expanding. Okay, the non-speculative side, we're just saying the opposite. You'll see this going down. Okay, and these guys are accumulating more long positions. But if we go here and we look at who is more premium, you can see that the buy side is still higher than this one, and so we have a slight advantage on the buy side. And also you can see here, if we look at everybody combined, you can see that we're still positive, and so there's going to be a bullish bias because of this, because we're net long across all market participants, and so we can expect this to continue to wriggle higher. If we have a look at the Kiwi one more time and see if that looks similar. Yeah, we're doing the same thing. We have net long bias for the Kiwi as well, so we can expect prices to continue to wriggle higher. So if we go back to our chart here, Australian dollar. I mean, this is why we're seeing these continue to wriggle higher. Yeah, I would like to sell a little bit higher above this. This is a lot of trading in this area. I'd like to find like a nice spot in here somewhere. That would make more sense to me. But I have a little zone marked off there, and then once price gets up into here, then I can position myself based on what price does once it gets there. But looking at the weekly, I mean, this is important. We had this, a lot of testing, and then finally it was removed by this. Okay, a huge rally, a huge revisit to the origin, and then a very strong move higher from here, and it all originated from here at the edge of this zone. And so this is kind of a big deal, so you have to be careful. And so buying until we get into these opposing zones would not be a terribly bad idea. Okay, so if we look where we have these zones, where do we have them? Let's look at that. So going out here, we have, and I think this is interesting, we have a lot of trading here in this area here, and then we left. So there's a lot of trading in this zone here, so I'd like to be above that zone. Okay, because we have, like we've talked about here, we have like chaos, and this is a little bit more clarity. We have just like a clean departure, one visit, and then a release. So I prefer this, which is why I have kind of an alarm entry like around here. So I'll get up in the morning, I'll check my telephone, and if this is filled, then I'll watch it for a couple of hours and then see how prices react. But we still have a fair ways to go. But what I would like to see as well is I'd like to see prices come down like they did on the pound, poke into this area here, and then move higher as we get closer to our entries to sell higher. Okay, but I do have like a bullish bias on this and the Kiwi and everything else crossed with the dollar. because we're seeing that dollar weakness. But I would like to buy lower, and I'd like to sell a little bit higher. Okay, let's have a look at the euro. We have kind of a similar thing here. I mean, as we spoke about last time, I mean, this looks like this, looks like this. These all look the same, more or less. On the pound, we did manage to poke into this area, which was great, but I would like, yeah, we managed to fill. On the other ones, we didn't quite get into towards the entry level, and prices just managed to hold away, as you can see here on the British pound. We failed. Australian dollar, we failed. On the Kiwi, we also failed. So we had entries here, but we didn't get filled. And so looking higher. So if we go to the British pound now, you can see that. Go to the weekly. If we go do the legwork, so we had turns from here. Prices went down. The origin of that is around here. So you see how we have up, down, down, up, down, up, down. This is all child, child, parent. So here we have the parent. Okay. And so on the smaller time frames, this will make sense, I think. So we want to look at these zones. You can see that prices have already been back here. They've already been back to here. And so we want to look higher. We've got something here. You can also see that when this prices rallied, we left, slingshot, departure. So this is messy, so we're going to come beyond that. We've already been beyond that. We've actually been up to here. And so what ideally we would like to do is we'd like to move our entry somewhere like that and kind of widen it up just a little bit. And I think this would probably be the best place to sell this here, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think this is probably the more interesting area. Swaps will be positive on our side, which is great, and then we can watch as we move. I mean, this is the range. This is the dealing range from here to here. We're currently here, but we've already dealt up to around here. Let me remove the middle. We've already dealt to around here, so I would expect prices to go to at least that area before we begin to move lower to obvious areas like around here. So this is where I would like to sell, around here, and kind of play it lower. We'll keep an eye on what goes on with the COT data next week, or rather this week. Okay, the American dollar versus the Japanese yen. Let's have a look. Yen, Japanese yen. Okay, so we've been net long for a while, which we can see on the price chart. If we have a moving average, we're probably kind of doing this. Now we're starting to go negative. Okay, we can still have diverging commercials and non-commercials, which is telling us that we will potentially continue to move in the direction that we're currently going in. But we do have 100. Yeah, we do have. Let's have a look here. Let me expand this a little bit. Okay, so we are actually 140 on the commercials and 145 on the non-commercials. Okay, this is interesting. We do have a negative bias. This is net. Okay, so maybe we can expect the American dollar cross with the Japanese yen to have a correction at some stage, and then not so distant future. And looking here on the, actually let's have a look on the monthly chart first of all. Maybe move all of these. Come on, get all these off the chart. Yeah, I mean this is, gosh, look at that. What a nice trade that was. This is what happens when you're not looking at the monthly chart. You're missing out on this huge trade. This huge trade. This one we didn't visit. This one, huge trade. People think they have to be on on the small time frames to trade, you really don't. I mean, you need one trade. This is one trade. One of the trades you take a year, and you are in the green because of this, earning mountains of cash just holding this position open. So pay attention to these big time frames. That's where the money is. But now, what we're doing is, we saw a huge rejection here, and now we're starting to. You can see how these candles are starting to contract. We had big, small, small, small. What happens when that happens? Well, what I prefer to see is I prefer to see small, bigger candles when we reach these zones here, because this is telling me that we have inefficiency in here at the top, but we're seeing these candles get smaller. When candles get smaller, that makes me feel like that we are accumulating to push higher. And also the swaps are super positive, and so I just be a little bit careful selling here, because I would like to see prices correct before I would sell, and I wouldn't like to sell because it'd be super expensive holding this position overnight. But on the 4-hour chart, if we look, and you can see that, you see how we're grabbing that, we're kind of grabbing liquidity below, which I don't like. For shorts, I don't like the price kind of jumps out of that range lower. We're doing that above price, then I'd feel more comfortable, but we're not. We're doing that below. We had this zone here, which was tested. Now we're kind of just trading in the zone. Yeah, we'll have to wait to see, but I'm not going to sell this because of that. It's too expensive. But I'll paper trade it lower. As a matter of fact, I opened a short position on here just like in a demo account yesterday, just to engage in the market at these levels. But ideally, we want to be buying this because of the swaps. And the most obvious place to do that would be at places where we've seen historical violations of price, and we can see that here. Okay, but you can see now that we're just kind of sitting here. I don't know what we're doing. Another thing I don't like is we're flat, so it looks like we're kind of wedging higher. Bit of a pop, obviously. So, looking here, yeah, we can still, we're net short, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that we can't go higher. It just means, COT data is not, it can't be used for timing. It can just be used for kind of gradual, the gradual shifting of flows. You can see, but even though we're high here, we went down, so it's not super fast data. Okay, so it can easily go down, or rather it can easily go higher even though we're negative. Okay, it's just timing. Okay, so for this one, obviously, I would be bullish this, but I would just be looking to buy it at more reasonable levels, because I think we're too high now. So we have to go to smaller time frames to find those. Let's start on the 30-minute chart. We scroll. So we need to find these areas where prices had a difficult time. Historically, we had had a lot of testing there, and now it's gone. So the area did it. Well, there's something down here. But prices traded there a lot. The only thing I feel comfortable about is this. This feels better. And then prices just efficiently wriggled high from there, which is not telling us a whole lot about any imbalance. So, yeah, buying a lot lower. Will we get there? Not today. Not today. Let's have a look here on the 1 hour. And then, oh, that's terrible with these. Let me remove these period separators. Oh, that's better. And so here you can see that we have plenty of room. See, this looks like a really nice area down there. So I like this down here, but it's super far away from price. I mean, it's really, really far away. I mean, we're at 152-ish, and it's really, really far away. And so, yeah, I mean, for the time being, when we're long, I'm not going to sell. It's too expensive, but just buying at pullbacks. We have a couple of those. We got something here. We got something in here. We got something here. And then here, we had like a test. There's something in here as well. Not a little bit. No, it's too much trading there. So just buy pullbacks. Sell. You can sell on a demo account just to kind of interact with that, but it's too expensive to hold on a live account. All right, next, American dollar versus the Swiss franc. So on the weekly chart, we are raging north. We poked at this daily supply, which is actually from here. Oh no, it's not. It's in that wick there. That's what it was. There's something in there. It's probably maybe. What is that? Let me see. Yes, this is where it is. We have a release. Prices came down and we left. So this is where we're currently sitting. And so buying at demand. We had this area right here. Tested, removed, kind of removed from around here. So this one's gone. Okay, so this could be an obvious place for prices to revisit. It's going to do the really big swings. It's all around here and also here as well. Okay, price kind of moved around that price point. Okay, so this would be an interesting place right there. Looking at the COT data. Swiss franc. Yeah, we're still we have a very, very strong bullish bias here. You can see that we're bullish and we're accumulating, but also notice, I mean, this is we're net long 15,000 contracts more, and every other time price came there, we turned around. We're there now. So we're premium. Okay, you can see here, and we're really, really long on the commercial side, plus 40,000 contracts. So just be careful. Prices could easily pull back from this daily supply here, and we're kind of scrunching up a little bit, stuck between this little this inside daily demand inside, because I call it inside because we're inside the range here. Okay, we're not kind of outside in this leg higher, inside here. But this one here could be an interesting one. If price is correct, buy it back at around here. But selling is pretty expensive, so I don't know if I would sell this either. So just wait to see. We go to the American dollar versus a Canadian dollar. This will be the last one we do. I don't want to spend too much time on this today. Canadian dollar. Yeah, we're kind of nothing really to say. We're kind of decreasing. Let's just go to the current data, most recent data, 2024. You can see we have our cycle-ish. Now we're maybe starting to pull back a little bit on the back of the weaker American dollar index. You can see here that the contracts are contracting, long contracts. Here we have open interest. Open interest is also contracting. This is the commercials. They're really, really big money there. They're contracting a little bit to the long side, and so looking here that we could maybe see prices stab higher and then move lower, but we're right in the middle of this. This is the move. This is the dealing range. This is a high of it. This is a low of it. We're right in the middle. So I'd want prices to move higher before I did anything. Okay, but we're on the middle essentially, so actually, let's just see if I can go like this so we can see our boxing. I'll go click on. Yep, so we are in the high end. Here's the swing, here's the 50% point, so we are in premium premium pricing, and so we could easily see prices pull back a little bit from here. So going here, we'll have to go to maybe the 4 hour, the 1 hour to find those zones. Let's see where price retreated from. Wrong one. From here. Okay, this was a turning point. See, something turned. Parent, child, tested, removed by this one. Tested. Okay, so that's where prices went to, and so we could expect prices to go at least there in the future, and they did. They kind of went pretty deeply into that, so maybe look a little bit higher. And so let's just put a box on that, and then we'll look at that in greater detail on the 1 hour maybe. Okay, so scrolling. Yeah, so here we do the same thing. Parent, child, tested. This one's gone. The area that did it was this one. This one's gone, removed by this one. Tested, and this one's gone, removed by this one. So this could be an interesting one from here. Notice when I was doing computer virus analysis, I realized that you have to pay attention to the detail, the tiny details, because this is where the solution was. And here you can see there's a little wick there, which means that we have to pay attention to that. We can't ignore that. So we have to go like that, and then we have to see if we can go to a smaller time frame and see what's there. That's very important. So let's see if we have data. I probably don't. Gosh, MT4. Okay, maybe we can get it. Okay, great. So this is where. This is it right there. Okay, this is important. Kind of a test. So this is the sell zone. And I would go like this. And this is a sell zone right there. Okay, this is not an uninteresting zone. Like we spoke about just a second ago, it all left from here. So this could be an interesting spot. Okay, this one we will remove. Oops, I got a little bit carried away there. Just this one. And so I would be interested if we just put this little zone on like that. This is an interesting area because this is where everything departed from. The sell zone is right there. Okay, so going out to the 4 hours, 4 hour chart, we have something to watch. Didn't quite get there, we got close, but this is an interesting little price nodule there. I would grab the 4 hour data there, otherwise we'll probably get into trouble. We'd want like a slightly thicker zone just there. But this is an interesting area to look for a short-term reaction, I think, so I would certainly pay attention to that. Okay. Good. Canadian dollar we've already done. Let's look at oil. Had a trade on oil yesterday. Got a nice 100 pips out of that. Let's have a look at West Texas instrument. I don't know. Let's grab this one here. Yeah, and we I got into this because of this slowly wriggling low. So we're net decreasing longs. We're not short, we're just decreasing longs. And you can see here, this is the commercials versus non-commercials. 34, 744, 35. So the longs, the net longs, the net non-commercial increased a little bit to the upside, and we went down a little bit, 2758, and then minus 23,440. So we're slightly moving down. Okay, and so this is why I decided to sell this one here. Yeah, so got in here. I think I already posted this, and I got out at the lows right around here somewhere. So caught data is slow, but you can use it quickly. You don't have to like hold on to it for forever. Actually, in my opinion, like it really works. But I think we're probably going to move down to around here-ish, maybe around there. Okay. Let's have a look on the weekly. On the daily, maybe. Yeah, so there's like, and we had this lovely daily departure test, and so we're probably going to see some. I'm just going to remove this. We're probably going to see a little bit of support around here, and then we have this little thicket just here. So I think we'll probably wriggle down, but for the time being, we're stuck in this little range up here. We just want to break through that. We're in here, this little range here. So we'll probably kind of do this, and then maybe move back down to here, and we'll see what the fundamentals say. But for the time being, I think we're shorter term short. Good. I'm going to stop now. 42 minutes. Gosh, these really go on. My apologies. But if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.